All right. I think we're all lettered in. I do have one thing I have to do still, and that is a sound effect. So let's try and do the sound effect. It's going to be a whoosh as the house bursts into flame. Um, the way I'd like to do this is using Stinky Ink. And the way I like to do sound effects, I'll demo it. I've done it a couple of times on here. This is just to start on a different layer. That's a bad W. Let's do it to where each letter is going to sort of overlap the next one. So I put it on its own layer, and then on top of it, I'm going to go and outline the letters, and then I'm going to get rid of this sort of guide layer that we just made. So we're going to use technical pen for it. So don't worry too much about all the stuff in the background. I know it looks a little confusing right now. What we'll do is we'll take white, and if I did it correctly, ooh, whoa. How about that? Sound effects are not hard, but if you've never done it before and you think they're easy, they might be harder than you think. Um, as always, if you're like me, you gotta kind of practice them a little bit, try them out in different ways. This overlapping method seems to work pretty well. It's like the S in the Superman symbol. It looks easy. It's the letter S. How hard could it be? And then you see how you have to balance it and draw it in perspective, and draw it so that it looks the same every time. And then suddenly it's not that easy. Um, but really, it is easy. You just have to you have to keep your sort of principles of balance in your mind. And you notice I don't follow the exact outlines. I'm looking for where I could fix the balance a little bit more. But having that guideline is better than going in blind. Whoosh. Okay, then we get rid of the other layer, and we're showcasing the thing. I've also got this thing down here to be continued. This is the ending of this um, chapter. I've got to put a signature in here somewhere. Let's put it on the last panel. We'll put it in perspective. And then we're just going to kind of trust the process. If it didn't come out perfect, that's okay. As long as it doesn't come out too bad. Or it's in there, it's kind of subtle. This is the actual size, like, of the page. Like, if we had a comic book handy, which I don't know if I do. Ah, I think we're on the right track. All right, now it's time for some tones. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna think about some tones. I think we're gonna put rough dot all over the background, and then we'll go in with the shaders on this guy. So let's get a tones layer going. Rename. Hey. And let's get some tones. All my tones is over here. Let's go with rough dot. I think we can go with pretty big rough dot. And whatever we do, we've got to set these characters apart from it. We want the background to be in the background. Oops. And the foreground to be in the foreground. That's all right. Now that's a good start. So let's go ahead and clean it up. Hope you caught Drive-In Saturday. Yesterday, I got a lot of stuff done in the old sketchbook. Feel like I'm really making some breakthroughs. The cool thing about sketchbooking is in comics too, is like you can improve in several different skills at the same time. And there's all different skills. Like there's well, the obvious ones in comics are composition and perspective and things like lettering, um, storytelling, thinking your way through a panel, all kinds of things like that. But also figure drawing, you know, and then pure cartooning, all kinds of stuff. Oh, by the way, the new Cubert School schedule just dropped. It's going to be for the summer session. This is for Cubert School Online. So if you think you can't afford Cubert School, you probably can at least afford some of the key classes. One of the key classes that you need to take is narrative art, and it's only $200. So if you're thinking I'd like to do comics, I just don't know how, narrative art is a great way to start. Also, there's one called I think it's Create Your Comic, which is a course. It's a $200 course, but it's about making comics. Um, then they have the other stuff. They have basic drawing. They have what they're calling fundamentals, but it's like it's a little bit more advanced drawing. They have another class just on perspective called dynamic perspective. Um, but the one I recommend if you want to be able to do comics is narrative art. And that's a course where you get critiqued. That's one where you get a script, and you're going to draw some pages from the script, and you're going to do them wrong. It's just inevitable. You're going to do them, and they're going to look for ways to improve on it. But it's not just that. It's to show you how to think about it. Like it's that's what the method is really about. It's like, So the way you would take the script and you get a panel, and let's say it's like the Lone Ranger or something. The Lone Ranger um, is hiding behind a rock, right? And you draw the picture. You're like, okay, this is the panel, and then it's going to go to someone more experienced. In this case, it's going to be Emma Kubert, and she's going to go, okay, now here's one way to think about this panel, and she may even give you like 2 or 3 different ways to think about the panel. Which is kind of cool. Um, all right, here we go. This is going to be wide open white. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Let's get shades 2 going. I want shades 2. And let's get some shaders. Rough dot shader. Oh. All right. In this case, the shadow is going to be on the end facing the door. I better be on the right panel. I am. Oh, and also we have this shade is also masquerading as a color. It's the color of the backpack. And also the color of his robe. And in lighter terms, we're going to use it as the color of the sack. Well, no, I didn't. I don't think I got this right, because let's make his robe a little bit darker. And because I put it on its own layer, I can just erase some of it. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, just Emma Kubert would take your interpretation and say, okay, you drew it like this, but why not do it like this? And she'll show you maybe a more dynamic or um, efficient way to create the panel, and then she'll explain the storytelling of it and what you want to get across to the reader. And this is something every cartoonist has had to learn. Like if you go through Golden Age comics, like if you get some Golden Age comics and look at them, they're not that good as far as the art goes. The art is fine. Some of these artists were really good, but the storytelling may not have been optimized. Let's see, layer 19 tones. Let me get back to, we're going to use rough dot 30. And you can see that a lot of times there's just some simple rules, or I don't know if they're simple rules, but there's some rules that you can follow that will really improve your storytelling. And it's stuff like, compositionally using the rule of thirds, or even stuff like um, when you're trying to show the character's relationship, you know, how do you place them in the panel? What direction do you place them? Like to move forward in the story, you point them this way, right? If they're going to be introspective, you'll notice they're facing this way. They're looking back at the past, right? Here he is, they're looking back at the past. They're saying goodbye to the mansion. They're looking this way. A couple of panels later, this is the direction of moving forward. And you can see it again right over here. And it's stuff like that. Like she'll show you all that stuff, and it's real subtle. You may not have ever even realized it was going on, but it's all in there. All right, let's see. This seems okay to me. Now I'm just adding more variation. I kind of want to take this part out. It's supposed to be like a little puff of air as the door slams shut, and then we'll even do that. You could even do some highlights if you wanted to. Just cut them in. All kinds of possibilities. All right. Well, everything's looking good. Okay. Same deal here. I don't think we're going to mess with this one. I think we're going to leave this one as it is. We might do something subtle. Let's see, where are we at? We're on 19. Okay. We could do something subtle like have this shade right here. In fact, actually, it could be like a kind of shows the light. Gives us a little compositional triangle. I don't think I did it exactly right, but the rule of thirds is you kind of divide your panel by three and then three this way, and you want to try and put objects of interest at the junction points. So his head is right up there. It's right at about the third. I don't think I did it perfectly, but a lot of stuff like that. Okay, now here's one that's kind of a conundrum for me. We did this on purpose. We left them open, but I think I could probably do some things with maybe a 30% Kawashi background or something. Rather than stick on this sort of 10%, we're going to go a little harder. Bring it up to 30%. So, okay, all these numbers, what's the 10%? What's the 30%? I'm using the 10% dot right now, which makes it just, like when you zoom out, it's just 10% darker. Oh, that's too bad. I didn't do this speech bubble correctly, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll fix it. Easy to fix. So, my idea here is to show it vertically here, and then to show it around him like a light, like he's got a light of determination. Let's see if I can do this right. 30%. When you do this carefully enough, you can get a whole gradient. I am not as careful as I should be. I am pretty much a fast food cartoonist. I'll tell you what, it's more important for me to get it like get the story done and like available than to spend too long on something. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Um, but the main reason is I know that even if I was super really good, these aren't panels people would linger over, you know? And part of their appeal is their ephemeral nature. You know, it's periodical. I don't know if it tangented in a good way over here. Like it looks like it's taking on some of the curve of the previous. Let's get it back up to this. Maybe did the whole background that way. I want to show him as being kind of he's feeling glum. He's like, maybe if I'd worked a little harder. He disappointed. He was there to learn magic. The secret he doesn't know yet is he never could have learned it really. And he was trying to be as good as his ancestor, who was raised from a hatchling uh, in the Temple of Athena to a certain legacy. One of the themes I think I might explore with it is that you might have your own legacy. And I think the way to do this is I've got to come up with some opportunity in the future to have him have a conversation with his aunt's ghost. That's her shield that he's carrying. All right, here we go. We're going to give him a little nimbus of light around him, but not much of one, just to set him off. How about that? Okay. And we can go a lot harder on these dots. Like we can go, this is 30%. We can go all the way to 90. And 90 is almost black. Like we can go almost all the way there. However, this is not meant to be a night scene. And the story, the extreme part of the story has already happened. Like if we were to map the story out, the climax of the story was the explosion, right when that happened. Now we're kind of on the come down as we get set up for the next plot point, right? So here's these guys leaving Las Vegas. All right, how are we going to do this one? Let's put it in. We got rough dot 10. Another consideration is you want your darker objects to be the ones closer up, and you also want your darkest objects to be where your eye is going to go. In this case, the eye is going to be following these two silhouettes. The faintest objects will be the ones furthest away. But this sort of little like light halftone that we're using, um, it's not going to bother. It's like we're immediately going to still watch that. We're going to go look at that. But I have to take it away once it bursts into flame, so I have to show some contrast here. We could also show a little bit of shadow. Whoops, come on now. Might even be able to do... Oops. We might even be able to do like this door a little bit darker. In fact, that makes me want to go back to the first panel because we have the door and then we have part of the wall. So, maybe I should actually darken that even more. Once it's on fire, then the shadow kind of goes away. Because the fire is a light in itself. But I think we could probably still do some, like a little bit. The cauldron will create a shadow now that it's on fire. There is a thing that I could have done that I didn't do, which is a junction where they look back. Like when they get all the way to this gate, for example, and then I could have them have one last look back at their memories, but I don't think we're going to do that. It would have been a cool moment. That's probably not worth thinking about too much right now. One thing we could also do is we have this white lettering. We could conceivably let's see. Alpha lock? Where's alpha lock? Conceivably we could use that, but I think the white might be better. I think the white's better. There we go. Let me get back to rough dot. Rough dot. There we go. Well, I think that's it. I think that might be it for Book of Ruin, Chapter 1, anyway. Installment 1. The next thing I'm going to be working on is Tarzan. I got a couple of pages. This one's, it's in color, but I'm not doing the color. I do the black and white. So, and then I give it to Jacob Moore, and he does the color, and he's going to do the color on the, this is the one I'm working on right now, which is this battle scene. Oops. Come on. The battle scene between Tarzan and the Green Sorceress and her men, her soldiers. So I got a couple of panels I've kind of roughed out, but I haven't done much with. After this, during this battle, she's trying to basically sacrifice a young girl. Let's see if I can find it. She's trying to sacrifice this young girl so that she can open up a portal to her home world. She's actually from a different world. And it specifically needs the blood of an innocent to open up this portal. And Tarzan goes there to rescue her. And I've got to have some kind of twist in the battle where the portal gets opened up anyway, but hopefully he rescues the girl anyways. And I haven't thought it all completely through, but I think what she's going to do is she's going to either her or this is the sister is going to complete the ritual on purpose. She's going to sacrifice some of her blood, but without killing herself, hopefully. And so they create the portal, and then they're going to um, kick the green sorceress through the portal somehow. I don't know. This one, it's in color, but it's going to be black and whiteified, and I'll show you what that looks like in color anyways. I've been posting these on my Instagram. Jacob Moore is a lot of fun. He does some really cool color. Shout out to Jake's Art Corner. Definitely follow him on YouTube for some music stuff that he does too. He's really doing some awesome music. I've known him for about 4.5 years now as part of the Adventures in Comic Making Discord. Oh, did you die? What happened? Um, Hopefully it didn't completely crap out. All right. Talk to you later. Please like, follow, and subscribe. I have got all kinds of stuff going on, and there will be more comics every day. Yes, even when I finish a comic, I try and start the next day on another comic. Because it's all about, I got to get to 1,000 pages. So I could tell you that I'm on 750 something now. I'll have to show my spreadsheet later. 750, I think I'm on 750 or 751 at this point. All right, talk to you later.